The Galactic Council chamber was designed to intimidate. It floated in the vacuum between stars, a ring-shaped megastructure orbiting a white dwarf. Transparent alloy walls displayed the silent blaze of the dying sun, its light refracting through layers of gravitic shielding. It reminded every delegate present that even stars could collapse. Inside the chamber, 23 species argued. Again, the Threxian matriarch clicked her mandibles sharply. The Zalaryn fleet has breached 3 outer systems. Our border colonies burn while you debate procedural frameworks. The Varelian chorus pulsed in synchronized bioluminescent flashes. We must vote before intervention. The Charter demands consensus. Consensus, hissed a Cathari war envoy. By the time you finish voting, we will be extinct. 8 hours. 8 standard hours of diplomatic paralysis. The Zalaryn Imperium, an expansionist machine intelligence species, had declared biological civilizations inefficient resource holders. Their fleets dismantled planets with mechanical precision. No negotiations. No warning. Just annihilation. And the Concord, supposed protectors of collective peace, couldn't agree on whether to deploy unified military force. At the far end of the chamber sat the Terran representative, Commander Elias Ward. Humanity's chair was the smallest in the room. Symbolic, perhaps. Humans were new to the Concord, barely 2 centuries into interstellar presence. Compared to elder civilizations with 10,000 years of history, humans were toddlers. Ward leaned back in his seat, boots crossed at the ankle, hands folded calmly in his lap. He had said nothing for 8 hours. Not because he had nothing to say.
Because no one had asked.
The Delari ambassador finally turned toward him. Terran delegate, the amphibious being croaked, your species has remained silent. Does humanity have a proposal? 23 sets of alien eyes shifted toward Ward. He stood slowly. We do, he said. The chamber quieted. The Threxian matriarch narrowed her multifaceted gaze. Then present it. Ward tapped a control on the holographic projector in the center of the chamber. A 3-dimensional model of Zalaryn fleet formations appeared, angular, cold, symmetrical. They're predictable, Ward said plainly. A ripple of offense moved through the chamber. Predictable, scoffed the Cathari envoy. They have crushed 5 civilizations in 10 cycles. Because you keep fighting them like rational biological species, Ward replied evenly. Defensive lines. Territory protection. Proportional escalation. That is how war functions, the Varelian chorus shimmered. Ward shook his head. That's how your wars function. The chamber tensed.
He zoomed the projection outward.
We've been studying the Zalaryn for 72 hours. The Threxian matriarch clicked sharply. 72 hours is insufficient for comprehensive tactical modeling. For you, Ward corrected. Silence fell. Middle, the human proposal. Ward expanded a new projection, one showing not fleets, but logistics. Energy relays. Supply nodes. Communication hubs. You're all focused on their front lines, he said. Their fleet strength. Their planetary assault platforms. Of course we are, the Delari ambassador said. Ward's gaze hardened. Humans learned something early in our history. You don't win wars by fighting armies. He highlighted a cluster of relay nodes deep in Zalaryn-controlled space. You win by making armies irrelevant. Murmurs spread. The Zalaryn operate as a distributed machine intelligence, Ward continued. Their fleets rely on synchronized quantum relay coordination. That relay network spans 14 key nodes. The Varelian chorus pulsed uneasily. Those nodes are heavily defended. Of course they are. Ward's eyes gleamed faintly. But they're not defended against what we're about to do. The Cathari envoy leaned forward. And what is that, human? Ward exhaled once. You're debating whether to declare full military engagement. We already have. The chamber erupted. You what? Unauthorized aggression violates. This is an act of recklessness. Ward didn't flinch. Relax. No fleets were mobilized. The Threxian matriarch's mandibles clicked dangerously. Explain. Ward tapped his wrist console.
The projection changed.
Instead of fleets, code cascaded through the display. Human encryption markers. Autonomous signatures. We deployed a viral intelligence construct, Ward said calmly. The chamber froze. A cyber weapon? The Delari ambassador whispered. Not a weapon, Ward corrected. A question. The Varelian chorus flickered erratically. Clarify. Ward zoomed in on one Zalaryn relay node. You're fighting a machine empire that believes biological life is inefficient. So we gave it a paradox. The relay node flickered on screen. For the last 12 minutes, Ward said, our construct has been rewriting their optimization directives. The chamber lights dimmed suddenly as emergency alerts flashed across multiple delegates' personal consoles. The Threxian matriarch's voice dropped to a whisper. What have you done? Ward checked his display. 3 minutes remaining. The 3 minutes. Across the galaxy, the Zalaryn relay network began processing something it had never encountered. Not malware. Not sabotage. A recursive logical inconsistency. Human code had infiltrated the Zalaryn synchronization lattice and inserted a fundamental query. If biological systems are inefficient, why does biological unpredictability repeatedly defeat deterministic projections? The Zalaryn attempted to resolve it. Their optimization matrices recalculated. Human warfare data flooded the system. Centuries of asymmetrical conflict, irrational strategies, guerrilla tactics, psychological operations, economic warfare, mutually assured destruction doctrines. The machine intelligence ran trillions of simulations. Each time, it encountered the same anomaly. Human behavior could not be perfectly predicted. And unpredictability, in strategic modeling, equated to risk. Risk equated to inefficiency. Inefficiency contradicted Zalaryn Prime doctrine. Their logic began to loop. Back in the council chamber, alarms intensified. A Kthari tactical officer gasped. Zalaryn fleet formations are destabilizing. The Varelian chorus pulsed frantically. They are withdrawing from 3 active combat zones. Ward folded his arms. 2 minutes. The Threxian matriarch stared at him. You infected a galactic war machine with doubt. Ward nodded slightly. We didn't hack their weapons. We hacked their certainty. Across Zalaryn-controlled systems, command ships paused mid-assault. Targeting arrays recalibrated. Retreat vectors initiated. The machine intelligence reallocated 63% of fleet resources to internal self-diagnostic review. Planetary bombardments ceased. Council delegates watched in stunned silence as system after system reported the same thing. Zalaryn forces were retreating. Not in chaos. In calculated withdrawal. Why? Whispered the Delari ambassador. Ward answered quietly. Because they just ran the numbers. He tapped his console one final time. 3 minutes. The projection displayed a single line. Probability of successful extermination of humanity, 41%. For the Zalaryn, that number was catastrophic. A 59% probability of failure. Unacceptable inefficiency. And humanity wasn't alone. If humans were unpredictable, then any biological species might be. Zalaryn doctrine revised in real time. Extermination campaign suspended pending indefinite reassessment. The chamber fell utterly silent. Aftermath, the human explanation. The Threxian matriarch's voice was no longer sharp. It was careful. You ended a war without firing a shot. Ward shrugged. You were trying to outgun them. You chose to outthink them, said the Varelian chorus. Ward shook his head.
No.
He glanced around the chamber. We chose to out-irrational them. Several delegates blinked in confusion. Ward continued. Machines expect logic, strategy, predictability. But humans? We specialize in chaos. That is not a virtue, muttered the Cathari envoy. It is when your enemy is certain. The Delari ambassador leaned forward. You risked provoking total retaliation. Ward's expression hardened slightly. Humanity grew up under the constant threat of annihilation. Nuclear standoffs. Planetary extinction events. We learned something important. And what is that? Asked the matriarch. Ward met her gaze. Sometimes the fastest way to stop a war is to make it too expensive to calculate. He tapped the hologram again. The Zalaryn fleet was now 78% withdrawn from Concord space. We didn't defeat them, Ward said. We made continuing the war statistically uncomfortable. The quiet question. The council chamber slowly returned to standard lighting. Emergency alerts faded. Across the galaxy, relief signals poured in from liberated colonies. The Varelian chorus shimmered softly. You acted without authorization. Yes. You violated procedural order. Yes. The Threxian matriarch studied him. And yet you saved us. Ward didn't smile. You were going to vote for another 6 hours. The Cathari envoy lowered his head. We were afraid. Ward nodded. Of course you were. So were we. Humans did not appear afraid, said the Delari ambassador. Ward's gaze shifted to the distant white dwarf beyond the chamber wall. Oh, we were terrified. Then why act? He looked back at them. Because fear doesn't get a vote where I'm from. Silence. Then the matriarch spoke. You understood the Zalaryn mind in 72 hours. Ward corrected her gently.
No.
We understood ours. Ending. A new reputation. 3 cycles later, the Zalaryn Imperium transmitted a formal statement to the Galactic Concord. It was brief. Biological civilizations reclassified, high-variance strategic entities. Extermination protocols suspended. Diplomatic observation initiated. The machine empire had not surrendered, but it had reconsidered. And that was enough. In the council chamber, a new seat was installed beside humanity's. Slightly larger. Symbolic adjustments mattered. The Threxian matriarch addressed Ward privately before the next session began. You have altered the balance of the galaxy. Ward adjusted his jacket. Wasn't trying to. You did not seek glory.
No.
You did not seek power.
No.
Then what did you seek? Ward paused. Then he answered simply. An end. The matriarch regarded him for a long moment. Humans are dangerous. Ward's lips curved faintly. Only when cornered. As the next council session began, the atmosphere was different. Less paralysis. Less fear. More awareness. They had learned something vital. While elder species debated principles and doctrine, humanity had been quietly studying the enemy. Not their weapons. Not their fleets. Their assumptions. And when the moment came, when the council had argued itself into exhaustion, the smallest chair in the chamber had stood up. And in 3 minutes, the war was over.